Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Solio Analytics podcast. We are in game week 17. We've got two chips active. So we've got our resident expert, Jonny, here, but then we've also got our expert, James, back.
Hey.
I called you an expert, and I'm like the layman.
All good.
We're going up in tiers. So, James, you were here when you were about to play a wildcard in all your chips. So tell us, how did all the chips go?
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for having me on. A pleasure, as always. I think it's fair to say that my wildcard and triple captain have failed pretty badly. The few weeks I had since wildcard, I think maybe I had one good week in there, but mostly it's been a bit of a downwards trajectory and a bunch of grey arrows, not much forward progress. And then triple captain Bruno, but not one of the only week that he didn't do the points.
Oh, in the middle.
So, in the middle. Yeah. He was doing loads of points, and then he stopped doing it for my triple captain, and then since then he's been doing loads more points. But sadly not. But I think it shows that maybe my heart was in the right place. And it is what it is. It's FPL. It's why we love the game.
Maybe his heart wasn't in the right place. I think the only conclusion we can draw is that it must have been personal. Must have known.
Yes.
People do talk about whether, was it Solanke who was really highly captained one week because he was playing Sheffield United and missed a pen. People were like, maybe he knows that the pressure's on him. And I mean, who knows? I was talking with a couple of guys from Hub about Ruben Dias. One of them was saying that he thinks Ruben Dias is playing really well because he's just nice and happy and settled, and he's dating Maya Jama now, and that's, his personal life's going well. And I was like, well, I mean, not like it has no logic to it, but also, how far do you take that with all this stuff? Who knows?
You just don't know 95% of other people's lives, right? I mean, is Isak, what's up with Isak? Is he having a domestic or something? We just, these are things we will never know.
Don't spread these sort of allegations straight off the bat. Yeah, here we go.
I mean, I'm just, maybe this stuff is true, but how much can you rely on it? What do you even know?
It's just don't overthink the results of what's happened, because who knows what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Bruno doesn't like Thursdays.
We will focus on the two gentlemen who are on free hit. Are you guys both? Have you clicked confirm free hit? Are you 100% free hitting?
I haven't. Have you, James?
You haven't.
No, I haven't actually.
No, I don't even think I'm
not doing it.
All right, let's record the whole thing again. If you guys are not free hitting, we have to think of something.
No, just change the exclamation mark to a question mark and put some doubt in there. I'm sure I will do it. I've even, because I was looking at a few other weeks and I was like, oh, maybe it could make sense. Or I think, I don't know. It was like Szoboszlai getting suspended for this game would have made this week way better. And he might miss it with injury, then be back for Wolves. Whereas if I knew he missed Wolves, then that makes that week a lot better. But I don't know. But I've done a bit of solving just now, and actually, 3-17 looks better relative to the other weeks than it did before. I think partly of it is we've got a kind of bit more surety on I say surety on the City lineup, dangerous words to say. But I do think that, I can pick a few guys who I really like, but would never put into my team going into the Christmas period long term, because I know it's got a chance to derail it. Whereas if I'm going to free hit them for 1 week, then perfect chance to be a bit greedy.
Makes sense.
But
Makes sense. And James, you've got bench boost as well left, so you need to get on with it, right?
No, you're wrong. No, I actually bench boosted already. I completely forgot about that. I mean, it scored so few points that... Actually, no, it didn't do that badly. I got 12 points. But it was still a kind of slightly pathetic showing. I think that 12 points contained only one return.
Okay.
So it was a very forgettable bench boost. Yeah, not surprised you forgot it.
I think also sometimes this happened with my bench boost. I bench boosted the week that you wildcarded in the end. And the bench boost did kind of okay. I think I got 13 points. But the week as a whole was kind of meh. So I'm okay, the bench boost went well, but I missed a haul that someone else had. So my bench boost kind of just made up for that, which meant that the week was okay. But actually the week without the bench boost would have been really bad. So it's moved the needle. I got 12, 13 points whenever I play it. It doesn't matter. But you kind of want that, I had a good week and the bench boost made it amazing, rather than I had a not great week and the bench boost made it all right. Less exciting, but so be it.
We're too used to double game week 36 bench boosts, of the years gone by. Yeah, you have 30 players,
we've got high hopes
points
for what it can do. Some people just want it out of the way. They just be like, oh, stupid chip. But anyway.
Actually, looking back on it now, my bench boost week was pretty good. I completely blanked this. I blocked this from my memory because I thought that everything was going terribly. But no, that was the week that we had Dango and Thiago scoring loads of goals. So yeah, it was pretty okay overall.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how are we doing?
You
I'm
all
going to open up our league.
Pras? Yeah, I was going to say, like, James is still ahead of both of us. So
yeah, but we're catching. Yeah. We're catching him.
I'll get the little violin out for you with your Captain Blank.
James is 31 points ahead of me.
Okay.
And you are 1 point ahead of me. We're all pretty close.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm no longer 2 million, guys. I'm under 1 million now. Just FYI. Yeah.
So I'm going to free hit, make my team worse. You can overtake me.
It's incredible. At this rate, the next time I'll be on the podcast, Pras will be ranked number 1 in the world.
Absolutely. So we'll have you back in 6 game weeks then.
Yeah. Perfect.
What about after that?
Yeah, after that, he's going
against anti-FPL.
He's won. Well, he's so far clear that it's like, oh, well, they just, they've announced the winner in March because it's like no one's catching Pras.
I won't be playing my chips, the second half chips. But we digress. We're gonna have a simple agenda today. We're gonna talk about the Carabao Cup because we're recording just after the two games that have happened tonight. The draw is out, so Jonny's going to tell us all about when the next doubles are, when the blank is. So we're going to spend some time on that. And then we'll go to free hit. Those frontier graphs, James, are just fantastic. So we're going to look at it. And when I look at the frontier graph, I feel so happy looking at the frontier graph and thinking, this free hit is going to flop. So we'll talk about
We've properly converted you, Pras, now. You're like, I look at the frontier graph and I feel so happy. It's not something you would have said in pre-season, but perfect.
This is why I'm having a bad season. That's what everyone tells me. Yes. But it is what it is.
So we will, we'll start with the Carabao Cup rundown. So this is when to play your next set of chips. So essentially, the lay of the land for the season is that we're going to have, I think it's been mentioned before, but there's 2 weeks that we know there's going to be some cup clashes, which is what tends to cause the blanks. Sometimes you get other stuff. So obviously last year we had Everton-Liverpool got postponed because of the weather, but that was Everton's old stadium. So we're not expecting things like that to happen, but stuff happens. There have been postponements in the past decade or so for like travel issues, or I think, was it the last day of the season in like 2016 when Man United had I think they'd done like a safety test and they'd like not collected all the fake bombs basically, and game got moved it didn't move game weeks, but anyway, no one's predicting that. But we know that there's 2 game weeks where the cup clashes with, or the cups clash with the Premier League round. So the first one is game week 31. So I know this is March, but this is, we're looking ahead. Some of these games might come forwards. So this is when the Carabao Cup final is on the same weekend as the Premier League round. So like there's a clash. The blanks and doubles we had potentially before, there was the talk about where's Palace game going to go, and in the end they managed to kind of squeeze it in, and they're playing their Carabao Cup game next week. So we knew that if Palace made it this far in the cup, there was going to be some congestion that could have caused a blank, but this one we know will cause a blank. There's no space to put it. There's an international break. There's a League Cup final on, and we've got 5 teams left in the cup because Arsenal Palace is next week. So the teams we've got through are Chelsea, Man City, and Newcastle, and then it's Arsenal or Crystal Palace. So any game in game week 31, who play next week, yes. So then we'll have our 4 semi-finalists once one of those 2 has gone through. So then we will have 3 to 4 fixtures that involve one of those teams. So we know that Aston Villa, West Ham, we know that Bournemouth, Man United, Brighton, Liverpool, Fulham, Burnley, Leeds, Brentford. Those are 2 new ones from this week because Fulham and Brentford lost. Spurs, Forest will happen in game week 31. So this is the blank game week. If you remember last year, it was when Liverpool, Villa, and Newcastle Palace had a blank. I think a lot of people played a free hit. Some people dead-ended with the wild card. And we saw Villa, Liverpool come forwards to game week 25, and we saw Newcastle Palace go back to 32. So these games will move. There is that same space where Liverpool had their double-double. There's two midweeks in a row where the only midweek stuff that's happening is the European playoffs. So if you don't make the top 8,
the Champions League ones,
Champions League. Oh, I'm zooming in. If you don't make, AI.
If you don't make it,
how do I do this? Very weird. I've done this before, but I don't know. Maybe we'll just go zoomed in for a bit. Hang on. There we are.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, I don't know. Fancy hand gestures. I didn't mean to do that. Obviously, that was not useful. Carrying on. So, yes. So we know that... Oh, yes. There's 2 midweeks, which are game week 26 and game week 27, have a midweek where the only midweek games are the UCL, Europa League, and the Conference League playoff rounds. So that's if you finish 9th to 24th, I think. You have a 2-legged one. I think City played Real Madrid last year and didn't make it through. So they had their 2 midweeks. Whereas Liverpool had finished first. They were top 8, certainly. So that leaves those midweeks free.
They drew Barcelona.
Oh, yes. Was it? Yeah. Barca.
Who was second.
Did they?
Something like that. I mean, they drew a tough team.
It was PSG who'd come way down in the playoffs and then battered them. Anyway, so those midweeks will be available, not necessarily where they go. But we saw from last year that they actually announced before the semi-finals had happened in the Cup. So they said, if Liverpool win, Aston Villa, Liverpool goes here. If Spurs win, Spurs, Fulham goes here. And then if Arsenal beat Newcastle, then the Arsenal game was going to come forward. I forgot who they were playing. Chelsea, maybe it was. So from last season, there's precedence for them to bring it forward, and because these teams are still in the Champions League and the Conference League and whatever, then there's more reason to bring them forward if there's space. But we don't know that for sure. So, but they have to come top 8. So Arsenal are basically guaranteed top 8, I think. Or all but some enormous swinging goal difference. There's no odds on them not qualifying, but I think they haven't technically come top 8. City looking pretty likely for top 8, having beaten Real Madrid. So Wolves, Arsenal, and City, Palace. Palace play Cups tomorrow in Finland. No, team from Finland. So if they win that, then they're going to be top 8 because 7th and 6th play each other or something.
Well, for Palace, it doesn't matter anyway, right? Because they have a free midweek anyway.
Well, no, if Palace finish 9th to 24th in the Conference League.
Oh, right. Even in theirs.
Then, they have a playoff as well. So if Palace don't come top 8, then City coming top 8 doesn't matter because Palace's will be stuck. I mean, it might be that City lose to Newcastle and Palace lose to Arsenal next week, in which case
then
the game's not moving. But in terms of availability, so I think basically looking at those fixtures, Everton, Chelsea, Wolves, Arsenal, Newcastle, Sunderland, and Man City, Palace as ones that might need to come forward. And we know because City play Newcastle that either City, Palace, or Newcastle, Sunderland will be, postponed from here and either go later to another week or come forward to 26 or 27. And we know that either Everton, Chelsea, or Wolves, Arsenal, or we might have neither of those two, because there's still a chance that Man City and Crystal Palace face each other in the final. So if Palace beat Arsenal next week, Chelsea in the semi-finals, and Man City beat Newcastle, then the final is Man City Palace, so that would mean we get one blank.
Which was the FA Cup final as well.
Yes, yeah. So it would be a game week 31 fixture. It would be last season's FA Cup final. It would be the League Cup final. So the chances are smallish. We probably should have 2 blanks. The only other way we were going to have one blank was if Cardiff had got through, but they lost to Chelsea. So that's now the only way to get one blank. So Chelsea, you need Arsenal are almost definitely top 8. City are almost definitely top 8. Newcastle and Chelsea are both pushing for top 8. So I think Chelsea have got okay odds and Newcastle's are mid tier. Can't remember, but there's 2 games left. So it's hard to say for those ones, and that would put pressure on them come forward, but also leave the availability in game week 26 or 27. So there's not too much to like plan in now, really. But this is like the lay of the land of where we are. There's no free midweeks before that. So like even if a game got postponed for the weather next week or this weekend, then there's no space really to put it anywhere before game week 26. So like we're not going to get any doubles until then, and we might not get any until after game week 31. But this would be the earliest blank that we know is happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, all clear.
So I know some people have still got a wild card left. So what people might want to do is like try and get a team that's likely to have their game brought forwards and get a double, and counter that with a team who are definitely having a game in game week 31. So you can kind of balance your keepers and go like, okay, I've got a keeper who I don't, I won't get to game week 31. I have no keepers, but also I've got a good chance of getting a doubler in 26, 27. But there's not, this is a long way away.
That's too much. That's too much,
yes.
Jonny.
No.
I mean, with tier 4, you can plan all of this stuff if you
can,
like.
if you want
you can
to,
go all the way up to game week 33, 38 if you want. But I'm gonna try and summarize this in 2 sentences.
Okay.
Just to close this chapter. So game week 31 is the blank game week when the final happens for the Carabao Cup.
Yep.
There are 4 teams right now, and 2 of them play each other. So the only scenario in which it's only 1 blank if it's Man City and Crystal Palace. In all other scenarios, it's going to be 2 blanks if Arsenal win. So let's say what's the likely outcome? It's probably Arsenal win their leg and Man City win theirs. So in that case, Arsenal Wolves is a blank and Man City and Crystal Palace is a blank. So those are the scenarios we're working with. Using last year as a comp, some of the fixtures were brought forward because they don't want congestion at the end of the season. And those fixtures happen during the playoff rounds. For that fixture to be brought forward, that team needs to be doing well or finish top 8 in their respective European leagues.
Yes.
That happens either in the game week 26, so that could be a double, or game week 27, where that could be a double.
Yes.
Now, 26 in itself is a midweek game week, because after that there's the FA Cup, and then there is the free midweek.
Yeah, so actually the double would be a midweek, and then the following midweek.
We had that with Salah, I think, or with Liverpool.
Like we had it split across. The only other thing to add is that actually, because they've just announced the February TV picks, Wolves Villa is a Friday night game in game week 28, and Arsenal play on the Sunday. So Wolves Villa can't fit in 27 specifically. It could still go in 26. And there's also another caveat to that caveat, that if Villa don't make top 8, then they'll have to move the Wolves Villa game to the Sunday, which would then make space for Arsenal Wolves. But yeah, I've added on to your nice summary and put some more details in that people weren't too bothered about. But anyway, this is why we're fiddling around with all the pieces.
Excellent. So
yes, I wouldn't be planning too much to do with that yet.
Exactly. And that's about it. I think the last thing to add is the Carabao Cup semi-finals are 2 legs for those who have forgotten. And the first leg will be between game week 21 and 22. And the second leg will be between game week 24 and 25. But they could provisionally announce the doubles even before the second leg. So we could have the announcement anytime after game week 20, 21 even. So, save your transfers.
And if you remember last year, Newcastle won the first leg at the Emirates 2-0. So going into the first leg, it was like, well, Arsenal are the heavy favourites. But going into the second leg, it had swung to Newcastle. Whereas the Liverpool-Tottenham one had Liverpool heavy favourites. Then Spurs win at Anfield? I can't remember exactly. But suddenly it was like, we don't know.
No, Liverpool did.
Liverpool made the final, but I think maybe they drew. We were going into the second leg and Liverpool needed to get a result. So actually it became less clear from the first leg rather than more clear. But anyway. We will cover this in more detail as we get closer, and obviously as these things happened. Lots to.
And every week we're discovering stuff, right? So if next week, for example, Palace win, then Arsenal Wolves will be a confirmed fixture. So we will, of course, revisit this as things progress. But hopefully that was clear. If not, you can listen to it a couple of times more, or we'll just clarify it again next week.
Yeah, we'll have another go. Yeah. Any questions?
Okay, let's move to the free hit frontiers.
Yes.
I want to talk about this free hit frontier first before you guys start. I love this shape as a non-free hitter, I'm sorry to say. Because what this shape is telling me is that the low risk side is the one that is projecting higher points, and usually the low risk side means the high EO players, which I own as a non-free hitter. So what it's telling you is your risk is not free, your risk is actually expensive. The more risk you take, you're actually giving up some expected points. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, the complete absence of like a top right of this thing is pretty notable. Like usually our frontiers are more circular, meaning that like yeah, you can kind of have higher risk teams that project about the same amount of points as lower risk teams. But there just is not a good high. There's like on a high level, there is just no super high risk strategy that's really good, which kind of sucks. Because you have to captain Haaland, you have to get triple Man City, right? You have to probably get the Bournemouth guys, and Semenyo's probably still got ridiculously high ownership somehow. And then you've probably got double Brentford defence, who are fairly highly owned, at least in our Solio Analytics mini league sample. So yeah, it's not looking like a lot of fun. What do you think, Jonny? How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, it was funny because I think when I first looked at this week, I was actually thinking like, the stacks kind of make sense, or you can double up here and do that. And there's a few teams that have quite strong odds, but perhaps I'd overlooked the fact that lots of people have worked out that Man City are quite good and Haaland's quite good, and that West Ham aren't very good. Sorry, that's our running theme. Wolves aren't very good. Burnley aren't very good. So actually, lots of people have this Bournemouth. You know, they'll have Semenyo, they'll have Foden, they'll have Haaland. And Haaland's just so obviously the captaincy option this week that you do lose quite a lot by doing stuff. Some of the free hit frontiers we've seen before for like the very, very right hand side of the ones that I probably wouldn't play unless I was, I don't know, doing it, setting my friend's team up as a joke, where you're captaining Truffert and going triple Bournemouth defense, are fun and actually get you that, way off to the right hand side. But they're so far from this top team because Haaland against, people are triple captaining this guy. So actually his effective ownership is probably going to be above 200%, let alone close to 200. And I think, I kind of thought like, okay, like I don't, Bruno and Saka are good this week, but I don't need them. I can make some good free hits without them. And the fact that I can go triple Brentford, triple Bournemouth, triple City, was quite nice. I think what it does let me do, actually, which gives me some solace, is that people have Foden longer term. People own Foden longer term, and people own Semenyo longer term. And I think longer term, they're okay. They're good players. I'm not saying like they're bad. Don't pick them. Obviously, they've done very well. But what the free hit lets me do is it lets me not have them longer term. It lets me kind of cover off a bit this week and still push to the right a little bit, but then carry on without Foden next week and without him the week after and so on. So maybe that's my copium strategy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's
this wasn't the shape I was expecting James to give us when he.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint, and it's a good point, and probably, why I'm not considering not playing the free hit, as ridiculous as it is. Like, we would have to get Foden in our teams, and I really don't want Foden in my team, which is ridiculous because he's actually a really good FPL asset. But I've kind of like I've defined my plan now. I don't want to own Foden. I don't want to join the bandwagon. I want to make my team as different to the template as possible. And this week, unfortunately, part of that long-term strategy is making my team as similar to the template as possible.
Yeah, so I think there's a balance, and actually there's still some things you can do. So this is the top sort. This is sort of the like unrestricted. Just see where the
But let's stay on the top first. Let's stay on the top first.
I was going to read it out.
Go for it.
We've got Kelleher, Collins, Nico O'Reilly, who also is very popular, and another person I think I don't want long term, but have to cover this week. Senesi, Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Tavernier, Foden, Welbeck, and Haaland captain. So this is on our current model. I think things will change very slightly as the minutes change, and we're higher on Foden and O'Reilly minutes longer term. So actually that's why they're a bit higher this week. But someone like Cherky might pop in here come Friday if we're a bit higher above on his minutes come the deadline. Or I don't know. I don't think they're like expecting a leak. When do they play?
Nah, it's 3 p.m. It's
never mind.
It's not the first kickoff.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah, so we won't know for sure. Sadly, but yes. What do you think of it? Is this? I mean, is this? We've looked at them before and said this is my team, but a few changes. Is this your team?
No. I don't think that's the case. I think the midfield is very templatey. If I can put it, without triggering you guys. I mean, Bruno, Saka, Foden is in everyone's team. Haaland's in everyone's team. Semenyo, a lot of people, including myself, are getting this week, only for 1 week, because we have so many transfers. So O'Reilly is in a lot of teams. I have Senesi in my team. So, like, when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, this is fine. If I have to go up against this, but you guys are making the broader point, right? That some of these players you don't want next week. So maybe this week's Frontier is not what you want to see, but because of this, next week's Frontier, you will have a higher risk team with similar expected value, right? I mean, that's the point. So when you will go against Foden for a Cunha or a Tarkowski for an O'Reilly, that's what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think like even Tavernier scored like quite a few points last game week, so he just is going to be more popular than he might have been. So I think when I was eyeing this up from a few weeks out, I was like, people probably won't have Tavernier, or they'll have Semenyo, but I get to double or triple up on the attack. And now it's like, well, actually, some people will have the double anyway, or just go to Tav. Like, if they can't afford Semenyo, they'll be like, actually, I can cover him with Tav. And yep. Anyway, but also, looking back, I think because I had Senesi and then I held him, I sold him when he got suspended. So like, it let me do that. It was like, okay, well, I'm for free at 17. I can get rid of Senesi now, and then get him for 17, and then not have to keep him. So he's popular, but not super good. But he has just been hitting DefCons repeatedly again and again. So maybe I should have him. I don't know. Yeah, it's all these good players who I think are good players, but everyone else owns them. So I've decided that I'm going to pretend they're bad players.
Yep, we'll have a look at your drafts in a second. But so this is the max points that you can get through this without adjusting for risk, but just the absolute max. So I guess I'm just curious because Brentford, when I look at the clean sheet odds, are like 5th. So I'm curious why we've ended up with double Brentford defense. Brighton is 4 points higher in percentage points. So maybe Colin is just better for DefCon. So he's in there for that reason, not just clean sheet points. Verbruggen versus Kelleher, I suppose, is close. So there's not much in it. If you had higher team value, probably an Arsenal defender makes it in Hincapié, maybe because they're the highest clean sheet odds this week.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen a few Arsenal ones. I think Collins, especially, and Kelleher, or at least in our model, are kind of that sweet spot of like, we had this a lot with Flecken last season. It's Brentford were just kind of that sweet spot of not a great defense, which means they get lots of saves, but the chances they're conceding are very conducive to making the saves. So Kelleher's come up quite a lot in some of the other games that I model as well. And he just like, because the price value is different, or there's some games that reward the saves even more than FPL does, and Kelleher just comes up right to the top. So I think it'll be close with that and the saves and potentially the bonus as well. And the same with Collins, like his DefCon rate is really high. So I think just Brentford's defenders don't tend to do that. I think like Van Heck just isn't going to be
Brighton's.
Brighton. Yeah. So Van Heck is good. I think he's often on my bench when I do the solves. But also Brighton, they only play 3 FPL defenders, if that makes sense. Matt Sweefer is their right back. So Kadioglu's good, but he's not getting forward as much. So they don't have a super attacking fullback. And Dunk is suspended. So actually the other centre-back's going to be probably Boscagli. So actually their defence is, I'm not saying it's weaker, but like actually it is kind of suddenly bereft of defender options apart from Van Heck.
Right.
Whereas Brentford, you've got a few. So you've got Collins, Vandenberg's pretty good. Coyote gets forward and does all these long throws. I think one that we'll cover in a bit as well is like Lewis Potter played left wing in the last game and is listed as a defender. So another reason that I think Collins and these guys are popular as well. I think a lot of people who don't have Raya picked up Kelleher as well. Whereas I don't think as many went for Verbruggen. But I might be wrong. This might be just our sample. as well.
Okay. James, any thoughts on this version before we go to other variants?
No, it's boring. Get it off my screen.
Okay.
Okay, it's gone. We've moved across.
So this is slightly higher risk. So the red dot that if you're watching on YouTube, has moved slightly down, but more to the right. So higher risk, only giving up a little bit of expected points. So read it out, Jonny, if you will, please.
Yeah, so Kelleher's in again, Collins is in again, O'Reilly again, Senesi again, but we've got Calafiori in now. So this is your Arsenal defender. Semenyo, Tavernier, Shard, Palmer, and Foden.
Palmer.
So we've swapped Bruno and Saka for really popular options for some slightly worse options potentially.
Downgraded them.
And we've downgraded them.
Shard and Bruno are similar. Yeah,
it's different. Yeah, it's different options, not less. And Palmer. I think like these guys are just people don't own. So I guess if you had Shard was suspended last week, so like if anyone owned him, they might have sold him, or no one's bought Palmer yet because he's not fully fit. And then who did swap Calafiori?
You guys lost Livermento tonight, right? As well. So kinda, Newcastle is like down a lot of defenders.
I thought Hall wouldn't start, and he didn't. But then it turned out that actually he's been supposedly has a hamstring issue. It might be one of those where like Eddie just wanted to not play him, and then it's like, what's wrong with Hall? Oh, hamstring. Kind of. But Livramento did play and come off, and I think it was more precautionary because we were already playing some kind of weird hybrid. I was watching the game, I thought, it's just Murphy at right back. But it was like, when you get half and half pizza, and it's like half this, it was like the left-hand side was a 4 at the back, and the right-hand side was a 5 at the back. Like Murphy was just all the way forward, and Lewis Miley was like inverting right back / defensive. I didn't understand what was going on. It worked.
So the post-match, just to close this out, because we are recording and getting the news live, the post-match is Eddie Howe says it doesn't look good. Livramento is probably out, but Hall could be fine.
Yeah.
So, let's work on the assumption that Hall will be fine.
Because Thiago missed out as well. Yeah. But that would leave us with Hall, Chow, Char, and whatever we did at right back tonight, Jacob Murphy, Lewis Miley, like not a right back. Trippier's out. Kraft's out. Botman's back soon, but is out. Burns out for ages.
Okay, so Palmer's great.
Alex Murphy got his first minutes in however long. People probably don't even know who that is, but Irish guy from Galway. We've got a friend who's a Galway fan.
Right.
Who, bigging him up. It's like Alex Murphy's on the bench. Came on. Yes, Newcastle's defences. I mean, we've still got no Pope. I don't know where he is. Someone was asking about Pope, like when's he back, and I was like, I think he'll just be back. Like Eddie will tell us,
suddenly he'll be
Pope's
in the
ready because he's in the lineup, not because Eddie told us. So be it. But
a liar.
Yeah.
Okay, so this draft doesn't have a second striker, so instead of Welbeck, you've gone for Calafiori, which is good.
Who you're missing, yeah.
And instead of Bruno and Saka, you have Palmer and Schade. So what do you think of this, James?
I hate this team. I mean, this is like everything that's wrong with Free Hit 17, isn't it? Like, to get more risk, you have to basically like make the same team again, but make it objectively worse.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, right? Like, it's the same team, but worse. So I don't really have anything to say about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Not like we've sort of moved the stacks around or anything. It's like, how many are the same? We've changed 3 players.
I mean, I do think you can take on Saka away to Everton. Like Bruno, I understand. Yeah. Saka away to Everton, like Moyes is not without any, or he's missing a lot of forwards. Moyes will do what he always does. Just says, okay, I'm going to just hold fort, park the bus.
Yeah. And they have an 11. I was doing the minutes predictions for Everton, and I was like, oh, there's no bench, but they have an 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Ndiaye's off, it's like, I'm giving a lot of minutes to Dwight McNeil. I'm not sure if I like this. But the back four's there, and they've got Irogbunam and Garner in front of it. But I don't know, not too bad. But this is the issue. So
Garner's gone, no?
James Garner get this confused.
Oh, Garner.
Adrissa Garner Gay. He's.
Yeah.
I only say that because I think FPL, his FPL name is GANA.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Adrissa Garner Gay or Gay, but for some reason, I'm looking at the FPL site too much, and Garner. James Garner is not at AFCON. Here we are. We've pushed it a bit further.
Made it worse.
Is this better, James?
This is more like it.
No,
this is what a risky team should be all about. Yeah, so I can read the team out. We've got Kelleher and between the sticks still. He's kind of the dominant option. Calafiori, Collins, O'Reilly, Gvardiol in defence. We've got double Man City defence. Semenyo, Tavernier, Schade, Palmer, Foden, and Evan Nilsson. So we've got the triple Bournemouth attack.
Lovely.
Bit more like it. It's cooking. And we don't have Haaland. We don't have Haaland. We've got Foden captain.
Hat-trick. Yeah.
Yeah, Haaland hat-trick and the season's over, I think. But, it's a bit better. I still find Foden to be a bit of a boring FPL pick at this point. But,
I also feel like...
Foden captain.
Are people still going to captain him? It's not like he's it's sometimes you go I've captained a guy who no one owns. But you're like, well, this guy's still really well owned. And some people
he's probably going to have 80% effective ownership.
He's going to be 200 plus, guys. Everyone who's got a triple captainship left is going to play it this week. Oh, Foden, you mean? Oh,
Foden 200 plus. Christ. Oh, no, I'm definitely going to lose this week. Foden and Haaland both at 200. I don't know how that would work. Yeah, but again, what have we done? We've swapped Haaland and Senesi for Gvardiol and Evan Nielsen.
That doesn't sound good, guys.
Oh, dearie, miss. It was like a therapy session.
By the way, but I would say Matheus Nunes is also a good pick if you wanted to go there. He got a full rest tonight. Or not a full rest, but he was rested tonight. So his minutes look good as well.
Because O'Reilly started and came off 65th minute?
63rd, 63rd, for Gvardiol.
So he's probably fine. But yeah, I think I don't know who else. We got news on. Haaland's had a full rest. He's fine.
Foden had to come on early.
Yes,
because Oscar Bob got injured. Then he came off.
If we're going to scaremonger,
he's going to start. He's fine. But your best case of a template pick missing out is Thiago, because Thiago was not even in the squad, and there were some knocks, kicks that were talked about. I think he'll be fine, but he could be one if he misses out. That's big for you guys on Freedom.
Yeah, as long as he's back. Still own him. I'd like him to be back for after that. I don't know. I just thought there'd be more here. Sort of where's it gone? We can do our even safer version. What is this?
So this requires some explaining because it's a completely insane team.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't even know if it's worth reading this out in full because it's so ridiculous. But the team has all different defenders, except from different teams, except for double Burnley defense, and then basically the most template attack you can imagine with Thiago up front. The reason it has double Burnley defense is not because we've got completely the solvers become depressed or something. It's
you sure?
Yeah, basically, the team that we started with, the kind of points maxed team, is already pretty much as low risk as you can get.
I see, right.
The only way to get even lower risk than that team is basically to own two players who you can guarantee will not score many points. Right? This is it, pretty much. Two players who, all of their points are coming from, DefCons probably, so you can expect a consistent return, but you can be pretty sure they're not going to get, they're not that likely to get a clean sheet.
Yeah, it's also your extra hedging on Semenyo. If Semenyo blanks, then you've still got points because, hopefully, because Burnley maybe kept a clean sheet. Is that part of the thinking? Because I thought
that is almost certainly part of the thinking. Yeah, I didn't even think of that as well. That's why it's Burnley and not any other team.
Yeah,
you know what I'd do to this team? I would change Esteve to O'Reilly, and I would change Ekdal to Minte, and that would be a perfect team.
Okay.
Because that's my team.
I think this is a self-own Pras. This is a terrible team.
Oh, you're two Burnley players away from the Solvers had an aneurysm.
The perfect free hit team. Yes.
What? Ekdal and Esteve? How did we get here? I was already a bit depressed about the sort of lack of the upper right, but the upper left is just what? I just put this in the slides. I didn't even look at it. I was like, oh yeah, free hit risk, blah, 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 whatever. This is crazy. This is almost more interesting than the other ones. The other ones are like, yeah.
Sometimes I do find fascinating kind of exploring the outer edges of this kind of frontier plot where no person will ever like realistically go. But it's like fun to see on a philosophical level what drives risk, right? Because I mean this like really the lowest risk thing you can do in FPL is own people who don't score any points. Because you can be certain that your outcome is very predictable. It's definitely going to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So all of the ones on the far left are all really boring picks. Like it's either players who are like over 50% owned, or players who don't score any points, and there is no in between.
Yeah, I feel like I've accidentally loaded my anti-FPL team up, and this is more Burnley defenders than my anti-FPL team has. So that's I'm actually
moving swiftly on to
I'm actually
one
a little
of
bit
your...
speechless at what this is. Oh, you've confused me. Okay.
Show us your draft, Jonny. Where are you?
Our draft? I don't know. This one? Is this it? This is my draft. No, I'm checking. This is a draft. This is probably one of the ones we've seen already. I was just playing around and like locking. So actually, I will just quickly show you. This is a like full, the full screen. So when I was checking just now, I just put a free hit 17, 18, and 19 and solved it like openly. Like just I don't care what moves you're doing, just kind of like how good is the path going to be. And I was getting like an extra sort of 3 points or so. I get 7, 8, 8 from for like the next 12 game weeks with free hit 17 and 7, 8, 5 and 7, 8, 4 with 18 and 19. So I think like it is just going to make sense this week. And also, I mean, this one's bought Foden, but a lot of the solves I was getting for 18 onwards were Fodenless, which lets me go that and maybe even get up to Palmer early or something like that. So I think this was just a quick solve. I think I probably want to, I quite like the idea of getting Cherky. I think I like really rate him as a player. And he's the kind of like perfect guy that I think is someone that free hitters will have him, and anyone who buys him might get his points this week, but will put their team in a bad position longer term. So actually, I don't mind that some people will own him because I go, oh, well, if you haven't free hit him in, I think you've made your team worse by being really greedy this week. I just don't trust him to be playing. Like Doku's out for a little bit.
What minutes have you got him on?
I haven't edited them too much here. I've just put him on. I think these are the defaults. So like, 70 minutes.
That's fair.
So I did, rather than moving the minutes up, I just went, I just want to see what happens when Cherky's in. So I just locked him, just to sort of see. So I went like, okay, what does the Cherky, Foden, Haaland version look like? And Lewis Potter was coming on the bench, and I thought actually he's someone who's got a bit of upside of potentially playing further forward. Rather than like Collins as well, and then it doubles up with Collins, and actually I get this triple Brentford defense, which is a little bit more risky. That was more fun. And then it's fairly similar otherwise. I've got Foden and Bruno and Welbeck and Menyo, Tavernier, Senesi. So it's like that's the like variant of the. I mean, I imagine this is pretty close to the kind of like the risk plus one that we had before, but actually, like you get ones
taking
they're not
Arsenal
on the
defense.
frontier. But they're basically there. It's like my version of that one. Yeah, so no Arsenal defense.
And no Man City defense. I think those are your two big calls.
Yes, so I'm sure West Ham will score. I think, I don't know, people are owning Welbeck or not, like, because he had his rest midweek. I think
Thiago is like 70% TO. So
yeah, so I think he's quite a nice one to get in. So then I think if I like wanted to dial up a bit more, is basically I'd just take like Bruno out. So I think this is just the same team with Minter instead of Bruno. So this is like I was just locking a few more players. So I just solve it and go like, okay, like this is a popular player, ban him. And how much worse does it get? So this is scoring like 1 point rejected worse than the team I had before, which was about half a point to 3/4 of a point worse than the top solve. So I'm still kind of, on this like right-hand side. I've not moved that far, but I feel like I've built some risk in. Like, there's only 4 teams there, and I've got a triple defense stack. And then if I want to push it a bit further, then I can swap Semenyo to Truefair. I can get another defensive build if I feel like.
But Semenyo is not that highly owned now.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna leave 5 million in the bank, I'd just go Semenyo over Fair, to be honest. Like every pick is also a risk reward balance, right?
Yes,
like I just think is he that?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people have sold
the
out.
one that I'd probably like if I had to pick now. The deadline's in 5-10 minutes. Then I'd probably pick that. But I was kind of like where does it go? Like exploring, and then I'd be like, okay, I've gone too far. That's because this is like another 1.5 lower. Because you've got Truefair on 4.5 and Semenyo on 5.6. I mean, this one's got 5 million in the bank. I don't think it really matters. That's partly why I haven't pressed any transfers or buttons, because I was like, well,
you've got so much wiggle room.
I'm not going to get caught on the free hit, and I think if I was going to not free hit, I'm not entirely sure what I was going to do to the moves. So that's why I've just not done.
It's funny, right? I mean, you can equally go with the money left, triple Arsenal defense or 0 Arsenal defense. Like it's all viable.
I did look at a triple Arsenal one before, because actually their attacking upside's quite high. If we think that, I mean, Calafiori's had his rest with his suspension, and Timber's looking good with White out. Like you get those two and Hincapié. But then put Keller in goal or something like that. Then that's another way to. I don't know. Is that riskier or less risky? I guess there's the ownership's lower, but you've got a triple stacked. I'm not sure. I think this is what I've not given.
I mean, they're the highest clean sheet odds.
Yeah.
When I look at that, I don't know what you're giving up. Like in this case, you just convert all 3 to 3 Arsenal defenders and possibly get a lot of EV. But they are 100% owned as well. Yeah. So you'd only get 200% more of that clean sheet.
Yeah, I think I had, if I actually go into my settings, I think I've got loads of banned Arsenal players. Here they are, yeah. Don't pick the Arsenal defence just to see. I think it's because when I was kept solving it, kept putting 1 in. I like, well, I don't want 1, I want all of them or none of them. So I might end up doing that. But yeah, I don't know. I think like this is the kind of thing I'm looking at. But again, it's probably
interesting.
Something I'll decide on Saturday morning. Maybe Friday night I'll lock it in, because there's no price pressure, there's no reason to decide now. We might hear that Foden's out or something like that, and there's not much to stress about just yet, although the deadline will approach and I'll suddenly realize, I've got to do it now. What do you make of this, James? Is this more fun?
Fun? So I've had a kind of a similar process in drafting my free hit, mainly today. Which is, like you figure out pretty quickly that the team kind of puts itself together most of the time, and then like occasionally you feel like kind of small amounts of joy, just Cherky pops up. So that was kind of the only highlight of my day is seeing that Cherky, especially with like slightly optimistic minutes, he really shoots up there as a viable pick. So
he just scored a goal in my
team
as well.
And I know. Look at that, he scores a thunderbolt.
Don't know if you
so
know,
now everyone's going to own him. Which
as soon
is
as you've scored
perfect.
a goal, you're actually a lot better at football.
This is true. Yeah. Not many people know this, but he's now he's basically Haaland.
He's good. Yeah, I think I am mocking, but like, and it's it's comforting to be like, oh yes, no, it's validated that he is a good pick because he's got the goal.
No, that's true. I like
funny
him.
Being like, I like Cherky, scores a goal.
Yep.
Now everyone else likes Cherky, and I don't like him.
I like him, and I like him for this game week, and I don't like him after that, which makes him a fun asset to own on free hit. I'll also be going for triple Brentford defense, because why wouldn't you? But so in general, my team, my current draft is really similar to this, except I have.
Have you got this one? Have you got Bruno?
It's basically this. It's basically this. Yeah, in fact, it's precisely this. This 11. So we've got Kelleher, Lewis Potter, Senesi, Collins, Foden, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo, Tavernier, Cherky, Welbeck, and Haaland. I mean, there's really not a lot to say about it, is there? I mean, I don't even know why I've got on the podcast. Very sigh, very let's just get on with it and have slightly more interesting game weeks in the future. But I'm confident. I think it's a solid free hit team. Given the nature of things, it's extremely difficult to see how this could go wrong, right? Like, basically,
we're clipping that one.
Yeah.
Thanks for the ammo.
But this team contains every single interesting player in the entire game, at least this game week. So I just can't imagine how I will ever get a red arrow on this team. It's completely unforeseeable and impossible.
I think everyone will see the Esteve Ekdal draft. Go for that one. They score goals. Burnley win 3-0 against Bournemouth. And we look very silly. And yeah, big red arrows there. That's the only one I can see. Very possible.
Thiago will score 3 penalties.
Thiago, yeah. Because I think that people have like regrets. Well, not regrets, but it's like, I don't want to free hit out this player who I've already got who's good. Like, obviously, it doesn't really matter, but you do feel like it's like, oh, I would have got his points if I'd, slept through the deadline. Which you weren't going. You were going to play the free hit anyway. But like, yeah, who was in my actual team? Like, this is my base team here. Yeah, Thiago. I guess Szoboszlai if he's fit. Saka. I don't think there's. You know what? It's going to be a Raya clean sheet penalty save max bonus, isn't it? He's gonna finally get his like 15-pointer, and we all free him out.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of an interesting like phenomenon that happens in FPL manager's mind, where basically there's nothing worse than players on the team that you free hitted out scoring points, like and it's the same with players scoring points on the bench, and even though objectively, like, those are, if someone's going to score, at least it's a player that you own and that you're going to own in future weeks, and maybe their price will go up. Like, it's obviously not positive because they're not in your team, but it's also like, it's not that bad. Like, really, it's better than a random other guy scoring.
Given that someone you don't own scored, would you rather it be one of your bench players / someone in your main team, not your free hit team, or would you rather it be someone else?
Yeah, I mean, the ridiculous thing is I would rather it be someone else, but I don't know why that is, because it makes sense. Like, objectively, it should
no one
not
must
be.
have these points. But, well, no, that means your player's good. He did some goals.
Yeah.
Price rising.
It's always the regret because it was in your control. And I get it. I'm completely agreeing with you.
Yeah.
But, you feel the regret because you had the choice and you flipped that coin and you picked the wrong side, that kind of thing.
Everything is in your control, Pras. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but you can buy any player you want at any time. Yeah. So this is how it is. I mean, I'm more likely to make a terrible transfer.
This trolley problem
play my free.
that we're getting onto now. It's like, do you pull the free hit or do you take the free hit off? Like, what's the default? People always say like, he was in my draft before, but I never had a draft. Like, even these ones, they're not my draft; they're just something. Or it's like, so people are like, I don't know. Even pre-game week 1, I find this amusing. I'm not sort of belittling it. Like, I do it as well. It's more of a like curious that humans and FPL managers do this. And he was in my game week 1 draft until I took him out at the last minute. Like, well, that means he wasn't in your game week 1 draft. Like, your game week 1 draft is whatever's in it at the deadline. Whatever was in it before then doesn't, like, that was never. I don't know. I do it as well. So yeah, sort of amusing. I had him in this free hit draft.
What if you owned like fractional shares of a player based on how long they were in your team since the deadline?
Now
that is a game that I want to play.
Sounds very complicated. Sorry, Pras.
I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game. Enough free hit talk. Let's go to actual dilemmas for people. Let's go to my team.
Your team? Oh yes. Let's load you up.
I mean, unless you guys have anything else to cover in free hit.
I don't think so. No, I think we've got quite enough of that. I don't know. I think sometimes you can look at your idea. Some of the teams you're trying to load up on. So I look at like the game week odds. If I go to like Rob's odds for this week and be like, okay, well, like what City guys might I get? If everyone's going to go for Foden and Haaland, maybe I can find another one. Maybe Savio's looking good this week. But even at Bournemouth and at Brighton, I'll be like, I mean, it's Haaland and Foden and another one, and it's Nico O'Reilly or Cherky. Like, it's quite obvious. Not going to get Donnarumma. You're not going to get Ruben Dias. Bournemouth is, Tavernier is the guy who takes penalties, who should be playing. Evan Nielsen's not nailed, doesn't play the penalties. Krupi Jr. Clivert takes pens, but isn't always going to play. Semenyo's really good. Senesi's just a much better defender than any other ones. Like, there's not really a breadth of players
we all
in these
went
teams,
through it.
which is,
We just,
I mean,
that's the problem.
I think that's the only thing. That's why the pool feels even smaller, is because each of the teams, while they're very good, doesn't have that same wide plethora of options in the same way. Well, that's what I feel like. Is this your team? I loaded it.
Yes, I had 5 free transfers into the week.
Have you done some?
So for the one time, Jonny, I had more transfers than you going into a game week because you'd made 2 last week. The one time this season. Yes. So I remembered to throw that in your face, but now you're on free hit, so you have unlimited. So actually, you have more transfers. So anyway, I did Timber to O'Reilly.
Because I'll have 4 next week.
No, you'll have the same. We'll have the same.
Timber to O'Reilly.
So Timber to O'Reilly on Saturday night, because I had 5 free transfers. Did I say that?
What could go wrong?
So I was like, exactly. Yeah, O'Reilly ended up playing 2 games. So I did take a risk there, but he's fine. So that's done. And that was mainly, not that I don't like Timber, I think Timber's great, but that 2.2 million, you will notice, is the amount I need for Anderson to Semenyo. So that's the plan.
Right.
So I haven't done this part.
Yet.
Yeah, I haven't done that because Semenyo is not rising yet. I think tomorrow or day after, but I left it anyway in case anything changes, in case I need to do it for Minte or something.
You've got a hypothetical 0.1 or more even, if you caught the rise, I've not put the rise in. So even if
it's 0.2 in the bank.
If you got caught out by a rise early, then you're not stuck.
Yeah. This is the team. Remember the team we looked at? The Frontier team, the left-sided team? This is the team.
But without the burn.
Minte, Semenyo, Saka, Foden. Yeah.
Raya, Thiago.
So
maybe I'll take Minte out of my draft now that he's in. But then Bruno's there as well. No, I beat Pras. I cover
you
Pras.
guys are 1 point apart, so you have to optimize.
Yeah, but maybe I just want to beat Pras. Like,
you
maybe
have 22 game weeks, guys. You don't have to do it in game week 17.
1 point ahead of Pras. I should just get his team.
Block.
I just free hit this in.
Yeah, along with 700 other managers.
I don't care about them. I will need to beat Pras.
You've been reading Twitter. I see you.
Yeah.
So this is my team.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any debate here. The path, by the way, the path is next week. Semenyo will go. So it's only for this week that I get Semenyo. Semenyo goes to Szoboszlai if he's fit.
Right. Yeah.
Wolves. And Senesi goes to Tarkowski. Again, exact money. See how this is all planned because, I've used these planners and Solio's told me these are the picks. There you go, 0.1 again. This is why you need to use planners. It helped me.
Yes.
But this is why you need planners, guys. Normally, when we do these things, we're trying to do this manually on my path and whatever. This is how I've managed to get 2 players in this week. One playing West Ham at home, one playing Burnley at home. I take one of them out who's playing Wolves at home next week and get another one who's playing Burnley at home. So basically maximizing my paths with the amount that I've got left. So this is at least the 4 moves that I've got planned in the next 2 weeks. But if you go back to last week, the thing I want to discuss with you guys, this week, is playing Van Dijk or Anderson.
Close.
Here's my discussion to you guys. If you go to Rob T's clean sheet odds, Anderson's actually higher than Van Dijk. If you look at that, Liverpool is 27%.
Actually,
Anderson
I can do it on the sites. The live ones in case they've changed.
Let's do the live one. I
don't know if they've changed that much, but Liverpool 27%.
And Fulham is 31%.
Yeah.
So everything I've learned is, Fulham higher clean sheet odds. Anderson is a DefCon god. Van Dijk is okay for DefCon. So I should play Anderson, right? But Solio is now telling me play Van Dijk instead. So then I dug in deeper. Why is that? Is it the minutes? It's not the minutes. So then I went to go to projections, go to DefCon percentage.
Yes. Well, actually, I can get it on the player. 60% for...
Even I didn't know that.
Virgil.
So for Van Dijk, it's 60%. And for Anderson, it's 40-ish percent, 47%?
48. Yeah.
This is what's causing Solio to tell me to play Van Dijk over Anderson. So my question to you guys,
Bonus
doing
is
the
about the same,
projections, how can we be sure of something a little bit more random, at least in my head? DefCon percentage is a little bit random. You can do it over a 38 game week sample, but for one game week, how are we confident that Van Dijk is more likely to DefCon than Anderson?
I think confidence is a funny word there, because actually I'd say like there's areas of the projection model where there's still signal. Like I would still say, having gone through the process that we've done with Rob and like, you know, trying to work out where the DefCons are going to come from, there's definitely signal that Virgil against Spurs is going to be a little bit higher than Anderson against Forest. But I can't say that with complete certainty or give much confidence on that it's going to be around 60% likely and 48% likely.
Even relatively, like why is one more than the other?
Essentially what we do is we start with like a base level of how many DefCons has that player done over the season and over previous seasons. And then we factor in as well how many DefCons a player in the position for the team that they're playing often gets. So like centre-backs for Liverpool, or centre-backs in general in the league. I've actually got Rob's... He sent us some notes, but I need to bring
I thought he sent them as a... Were they serious notes?
I asked as a joke. I said, Rob GPT, can you write me a politician statement?
And he did in like 10 seconds.
I know. Yeah. I mean, we've discussed it before, but I don't know if he had it copied and ready.
James, what do you think? If you have a dilemma like this, while Jonny is looking at this, if you have a dilemma between like 0.1, of course, we all know it's a flip of a coin, right? So I'm not trying to get an answer out of you guys. I understand it's a flip of a coin, which it 50% of the times will work or 50% won't work. But I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it, because clean sheet odds is what the market or the FPL manager is now used to. But now we have more elements to the clean sheet odds. There's DefCon, there's bonus. And so how much do we rely on that other stuff, which is harder to model, I guess?
Yeah, it is harder to model. And that's kind of an interesting thing. I think it's interesting that people always talk about kind of projections which we have lower confidence about as exclusively a bad thing. Like, oh, we're less sure on the DefCons, so Anderson is worse than Virgil. Uncertainty with this kind of statistical analysis goes in both directions. So on one hand, yeah, it's like, you know, there's a decent chance, unlike with clean sheets, there's a decent chance that we're underrating Anderson's ability to get DefCon numbers, to get that bonus point. But equally, it's likely that we're overrating Anderson's ability. We have a model that's good, and kind of we've done everything we can to get, you know, bias out of the model. But it's never going to be as you know, as battle tested as extremely high liquidity football match goals prediction markets. It just never will be. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Anderson's worse. In fact, if you're somebody who likes to engage with risk, you could argue that the fact that we like have a slightly worse understanding of DefCon means that in some ways he's a better asset, because he could be even better than that. And yeah, the downside also works the other way with Virgil. So like ultimately it's the uncertainty goes both ways. And it's a coin toss. Of course it's a coin toss, but I do think it's a note.
I've got Rob's statement, so to speak. I think basically it boils down to like this kind of like this 3 tiers of things that we're balancing in. So the high level is that like you look at how many DefCons that player's got. So we use last season and this season. As the season goes on, we put more and more weight on this season, because right at the start, you know, you can just have this sort of one-off game, and it's, you know, it's signal, but it's not. Well, Senesi's hit 20 DefCons in the first 2 games. That means his baseline is 20. If he hit 10 last season the whole way through, then we go, okay, well, it might be up from 10, but he needs to hit some more 20s for us to be sure that it's now 20. So by mid-season, it's mostly driven on this year's stuff. But we still have last year's stuff to weight in to make sure it's not too far off. And then how much we rely on the players' individual numbers depends on how much they've actually played in that position as well. So Virgil has played a lot of minutes at centre back for Liverpool. So like we can rely on Virgil's specific baselines there quite a lot. Whereas when a new signing comes in, then we're much less sure on how, I don't know, Reinders DefCons are going to work at City, partly because the positional stuff's a bit confusing, and also because he's coming from a new league, so we don't know how that's going to adapt. So we might lean more on like a kind of Man City centre mid, attacking mid. But also you've got to be a bit careful, because I think when we first started doing that, like Rodri dominates so much of the centre mid numbers over recent seasons that it looks like Reinders is going to be high, and actually we know that Reinders is a different sort of player. So we have to like get that balance right. And then you go to the fixture level. So like actually some matchups and teams will consistently generate more defensive actions than others. So we nudge them a bit down based on the fixture. So basically, I think Virgil and Anderson are probably two where our confidence is almost higher than other teams, because we've seen, apart from the fact that this season's DefCon rates have all gone up across the board, because of the sort of stylistic play stuff and the the long throws and the clearances have gone way up, and someone like Gabriel who didn't hit DefCon once last season, I don't think, was hitting it like, I can't remember if it was half the time, but frequently enough that it was damaging to non-owners. Whereas when I'd not picked him, it was partly he doesn't get DefCons, so sure he gets goals and clean sheets, but there's not going to be DefCons. So then he kept hitting them. So Virgil actually was another one who was kind of okay for DefCons, but has been pretty good because of the clean sheet stuff. And Anderson is someone who actually had historically been pretty good before at Fulham and even at Palace if we looked further back. And I do remember when we were looking at the team-specific stuff that playing away to Tottenham is like kind of like a fixture that pushes you up. And we're now, that's going to have moved slightly because Ange's Tottenham and Frank's Tottenham are very different.
Correct.
But again, we've got nearly half a season of Frank Tottenham data to inform that. So right off the bat, we'd only move it a small amount. But now that we're 16 game weeks into the season, we've got 16 game weeks of how many DefCons are players getting against Frank's Spurs compared to how many we were expecting them to based on the model before that and updating that one. So it's balancing all of these metrics and working out which ones to rely on a bit more and updating them over time and update speeds and such. But I would say, I think like Virgil and Anderson, I think maybe if it was, I do remember Senesi being quite a hard one to predict at the start of the season because he'd been out most of last season and Dean Howson had come in and replaced him and he was getting loads of DefCons, whereas Zabani wasn't getting very many. So it was clearly this kind of like part of the partnership was getting a lot of it. They were like, well, Senesi was good at them before that, but is it going to balance out across him and Diakite, or is he going to take the Howson role and Diakite take the other role and then get dropped? So it was looking promising, but our certainty on that was low because we hadn't really seen. I mean, it was a completely new back line, pretty much.
Yeah.
Even the back keeper, I think Adam Smith was the one remaining part, and he wasn't even playing right back very much. So we can predict, we think this guy's going to be good at the DefCons, but until he has a really good season and hits them repeatedly, we update and go, okay, yes, like more and more sure of that. So again, the number might not actually move itself. Like Senesi's baseline in our model might be the same as it was in Game Week 1, but we've got more and more data to back that up. So actually, if you didn't know any better, you just see that the number's the same and go like, oh, actually, I don't realize where the certainty is there. We are going to bring in as well at some point the ability to like edit this baseline. So if you disagree, because I think,
to be honest, I'd be even more clueless. Like I can edit it
because I think
this was
If you can read tactically how you think the game's going to go, and you are good at that, and there is room to be good at that, I think there is room to be like better at predicting DefCons on a game level than a larger model might, possibly more so than goal stuff, and people look at like, you know, they've got a weak left back, so I think the right wing goal share is going to move. And actually, you look in the markets, they don't really move at all. Like, and they've got seasons and seasons of sharp betting market data to work out whether that's actually going to have an effect. Whereas DefCons is, you know, a bit noisier. So I think if you have reason to believe that Anderson versus Forest might be a DefCon heavier game and Virgil against Spurs a lower one, then I think this is a perfect example for you to bring that belief in and act on it. But
it was a case actually, to be on the contrary, where I was coming from is I have no reason to believe either is better than the other. Yeah. So that's where I was coming from. But actually, to be honest with you guys, I mean, this was in context of who do I bench. With Thiago missing out tonight, I feel a little better that, you know, if that small risk that Thiago misses out, I've got a good first sub. So ultimately, I'll just pick. I think Van Dijk.
Obviously, in a one-off, like the rule is that you'll pick the wrong one anyway. So, but yeah, from a process point of view, I think DefCons have been a very interesting addition to the game because they're very tricky.
I mean, the other thing is attacking threat. We haven't talked about that, right? I mean, I see Van Dijk, and this is obviously more eye test than anything else. He is on a lot of headers, and it's coming. So I guess that solves it. So that's my team. That's my free hit draft, guys. I mean, forget all of the stuff you saw earlier. This is the best team this week. This is the team that's going to.
You've got a Burnley defensive player in the squad. We don't.
I have got Dubravka.
Dubravka's on the bench.
If Raya is to miss out completely. But other than that, team looks all right. And I'm happy that I've got a few transfers and I'll be ahead of you by the end of this game week. I'm kidding. All right. Anything else to add, guys, before we go?
What do you think, James? Your team?
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. Why
else?
do we play this game? I thanks guys for having me on again. It's always a pleasure. I always seem to come on when I'm playing my free hit, which is in many ways the least interesting of all FPL game weeks because any decision that I make has zero long-term consequence. So one of these years I'll have to go on just during a normal game week, actually making it interesting. Rather
Excellent.
Than
this so okay.
So thanks.
Next time you're on 5 free transfers, you know where to come. We will get in touch.
How many have you got? Have you got 4 or 5?
I've got 5, so I'll be on next week as well. Right.
Yeah, we'll do it again. It is a bit like a more convoluted captaincy discussion for a free hit. Like, who are you going to captain? It's like, well, you know, it's important, but next week, whatever. I don't know.
No, I think the stuff around, on a serious note, the stuff around players you'd pick for a week than the players you'd want longer term is actually useful for both sides, right?
Yeah.
Like, I may disagree on Foden, I may agree on Nico Riley or vice versa, and that's obviously up to people's own beliefs. But that kind of discussion is great. You guys being able to get to a Sade who nobody has or a Palmer that nobody has, I think that stuff has a little bit of value. But otherwise, hopefully people on free hit or people on free hit who saw my team had something to learn in this video. Any last words, guys?
No. Best of luck for Game Week 17, everyone. And we'll see you.
Best of luck for Game Week 17. Like and subscribe, Johnny. You know, we always have to put this in there. I mean, this is only our 17th video.
FPL.solioanalytics.com and sign up now. Sign up for Christmas. Great Christmas present for anyone. You could buy your mum and dad a Solio Analytics membership. Yes.
Of course you can. But actually, I do have an important thing. I have an important thing to say.
It's all free from Christmas to New Year.
Yes.
Tielemans got an assist.
Correct. So now, is there a particular date, like midnight of 25th?
Yeah, as soon as it turns Christmas Day, Christmas morning, you can open up Solio Analytics. I'm sure it'll be the first thing you do on Christmas morning.
Until the 31st.
Solio Analytics, and it will all be there. All the features until I think, New Year or just after New Year. There's some terms and conditions somewhere.
Yes, I think we're letting people finish the game week. But yeah, the details will be out.
Details will be there, but if you're on a free subscription at the moment, what you'll see is you're going to start to see some colors in the projections. That is Hive Mind. You'll see the projections going up to whatever week you want. So there's a lot of good stuff. Try it. See if you like it. Ask questions. Get involved in Discord. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. You know what you have to do. So thank you for joining as usual. We will see you next week.
Thank you for the better outro. See you guys.